Hi guys. I'm back. I'm Michelle from Michelle McCarthy Crafts. I've been teasing this box for the past few days now, so I'm finally here with the tutorial to show you how to create this. So we've got this beautiful exploding or explosion box, whichever way that you want to say it. I've been using some of my Kaiser craft papers that I've had in my stash for ever such a long time, but I had to use them because I just thought they're absolutely perfect for this box. I've got this lovely, beautiful bouquet here, just using again. I've got lots of flowers, lots of mulberry flowers, lots of beads, lots of ribbon on there just to create that lovely embellishment on there. And then this, again, this is from the Kaiser Craft collection. Elegance is the only beauty that never fades. Some beautiful little sentiments in there. So let's open it up. So there you go. You've got that beautiful explosion of that main box. And then by using one sheet of paper, cutting it, obviously these are 2 by 2, so cutting it down and you create that beautiful, I mean, how amazing does it look when you open it up and you've got that follow on of that beautiful pattern and then popping that up there. If I just open it up again, there's no chocolates in it, not anymore. They didn't last very long in this house with the 2 children and a husband. And me, maybe me as well. But you've got that beautiful little explosion box as well. I've just got some of that. It's like baking paper, you know, that greaseproof paper, or a little bit of tissue, or anything like that. All I did was I just crumpled it up. And it just gives you some lovely little dimension. And then when you pop a little chocolate in the middle, it looks fabulous. Pop a bit of chocolate in the middle. One of these could have the earrings in, a little bit of jewellery. What would look amazing? See, we haven't even started, and I've gone off on a new idea. Is this inside box? So they're all 2 by 2. To have one giant box in the middle that's 4 by 4, carry on the smaller 2 by 2 boxes on the outside, and then in this middle box, you could have a bigger gift. So again, you could have a real good play about with all the different sizes that you can create. So let's just pop this back on here. I'll move it to the side and I'll show you the papers that I've used for this box. So I'm going to bring these in because I was saying that I've got found these beautiful Kaiser Craft papers. So I've got Rosabella and then this is Gypsy Rose. So I've mixed those 2 collections because you can see actually that they work beautifully together. So, and what I also love is you get these little packets of ephemera. So again, popping these out, you've got all these lovely little embellishments that you can be using on your crafts as well. This is where there's a beautiful little clock in here. I love just the clock. So lots of beautiful little embellishments in there. I've got the 6 by 6 paper pad. If I just move this, you've got again those beautiful papers. This is the Gypsy Rose, turning it over, polka dot. You all know I love polka dot paper. And then what you also get is you get these bonus papers. These are all stickers. All of these on here are stickers. So you've got all these sentiments that you can take off. And again, added stickers there. And then if I bring in that as well, you can see you've got all the alphabet there. And again, beauty. And all these are stickers. So beautiful. You've got a little clock, memories that make me smile. So absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous collection. But I think so. First, we will start. We'll start creating this. So, firstly, let me bring in all these bits because whenever I'm creating an exploding box like this, that's going to have lots of boxes in the middle. What I'm going to start with is those inside boxes. So let's move this to the side. So what I've got here, firstly, is I've got 2 pieces of card. This is 6 by 6 because this is going to be my exploding box. And then this is going to be the lid, and that is 4 by 4. So if I bring in my scoreboard and pop these on here. So this one has been cut to 6 by 6. And I'm going to score these both on the same side. So just the box lid, just the normal side that you would go to, we're going to score both of these. So we're going to go at 2 inches on all 4 sides of this 6x6. And then I'm going to bring in this. So this is going to be the lid. And I've cut it 4x4. In fact, I haven't. I've cut it 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. And I'm still going to score it at 1 inch all the way round. And I've just added that tiny 1/8 of an inch instead of doing it on the box lid and box base side. Now, the reason that I've done that is because when you're doing an exploding box, you don't need as much extra on the lid as what a scoreboard is going to give you. So I just add that 1/8. So this is going to be 2 1/8. Both my sides are still going to be that 1 inch. But I find that fits better than doing it on the box base and box lid side for an exploding box. Because it's an exploding box, you don't need so much extra, if that all makes sense. So fold, burnish and give them a good score. And then we're just going to bring in my scissors and I'm going to trim all 4 of those corners away. So I'm just tipping it towards, sort of tipping it on an angle, just because it's black card, just allows me to be able to see that score line a little better. There we go. Again, all 4 sides we're going to cut away. I'm using my nice big scissors. There we go. So then I've got all 4 of my sides cut away. So what I tend to do is I will fold that side over. Now, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see on this bit here, it's just a little bit longer or a little bit wider? So fold that score in the middle. And then if this is just a little bit wider, just trim that little edge away. And fold all of them. Make sure that you're happy that they're nice and straight. And that's your inside or your base. And then this is the lid. So again, fold, score and burnish. Burnish firm but carefully. You don't want to crack your card unless you're using some lovely, adorable scoreable or anything like that, which, as we know, doesn't crack at all when you crease it. I've just got, this is a 250 GSM card that I've got at the minute because I've cut it from a 12x12 card pack that I've got. If you're making boxes or anything like that, I would never go below a 250 GSM. I think it's sort of the perfect weight to create your boxes with. So I'm going to glue mine together now. Now, what I would normally do is I wouldn't glue this together yet because you've got those pattern papers to stick on top. I'm going to do it just for time, but you're going to need 16 of these. So you're going to be dreaming about making boxes in your sleep. And just look, I did have some, oh, here we go, some paper clips. So fold each side up and then just hold it in place with paper clips. So like I say, you need 16 small exploding boxes if you're doing them the 2x2s to create that 8x8 that I have. So 16 bases, 16 lids. So there we go. So that's those 2 pieces for now. So I'm just going to put that to the side, allow that to dry. I don't need to put my lid in yet. So what I'm going to do is those beautiful papers that I told you about. I've already got lots of mine cut down. I'm going to do the centre of my exploding box in a different paper to the sides. So they're all going to be, so they're all 2x2. So I've cut mine down 1/4 of an inch. So that makes them 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. So I'm just going to glue that one in. And before I forget, let me just find my corner punch. Because for these four here, are going to go on here. I'm going to use my corner punch on them, but just on the top. So just using your corner punch just to create that lovely dome sort of effect at the top. I think it looks really nice. I think when you're gifting something like chocolates, I think mixing up your straight edges with those curved edges makes it feel more like a chocolate gift, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So I don't know. Um, it's just a little bit different. I don't know. Chocolates are nice and curvy and delicious. And I think adding curves to this, I think it just looks so much nicer than if it didn't have those on there. But again, I suppose that's a personal preference thing. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. I just think it looks lovely. So popping glue on all four. And again, you're going to be doing this with 16. So you're going to be cutting 16 bases, 16 lids, 16 times 5 of these squares. I'll let you work that one out. I'm not embarrassing myself trying to do maths for you guys, not off the top of my head. Should have worked it out really and wrote it down, and then just came out with it. And then you'd have been like, oh, she worked that out quick, when I didn't really at all. But pop glue in that corner. But it'd have looked good, wouldn't it? There we go. So you can see that's my lovely exploding box. And if I take those off now, just give that a nice burnish down. Take that off and then close that up. There we go. And you can see it fits lovely. So for this particular box that I've done, I leave all my sides plain. You could pop just a little bow on one side if you want, but leaving all those sides black and then just having that pattern on the top, that contrast is really bold, and that's what I'm looking for. So that is why I've got no pattern paper around those sides. But again, if that's what you want to do, you absolutely can. So let's move that to the side, because then what we're going to do next, let me just pop my pin in there so I don't lose it, is bring in these pieces here. So this is going to be my box base. Now, the reason that I do this second is because I want to make sure, so I will bring, let me just grab this again, take the lid off. What I do is, once all my smaller boxes are created, I will bring all four of these in together and I will pop them there, and I will see how much space, how much distance I want between these. So you might want to have yours in your box with a little bit of space, or you might be happy with them all pushed up together. So have a little bit of a play, pop them on here, measure this base card. So let me see if I can lift these without bases falling out. And I did, look at that. There we go. I've already made a mess, and we've been going about 10 minutes. It's a huge mess already. So what I've done with mine is all my boxes, my inside boxes are 2 inches wide each. So that's 8 inches. So I've gone for 8¼ by 8¼ I've also cut another piece that is just 8 inches, because when I've put my sides on, this is going to cover all those tabs and those flaps. So I'm going to pop that to the side. And then what I've got here is I've got 4 pieces of card, and they're going to fit under there lovely. So they're 8¼ inches wide by 3½, and each one has got that 1/2 inch tab. So let's fold that over and give it a good burnish. Then all my sides are going to be 3 inches high with just a 1/2 inch tab. So again, give these a nice good store and burnish. With them being your sides and with that being the tab. Just ripped mine, but that's all right. It's the tab underneath, so you're not going to see it. But you need them nice and crisp. You want them to fall open when you open that box. Absolutely lovely. So last one, there we go. So what we're going to do, what I'm always going to do with my tabs, when I'm popping tabs or sides on my boxes, when you glue them underneath, you're going to get lots of bulk in the corners. So what we're going to do is we're going to trim those corners away. So again, on each of the 4 sides, let's trim a nice big wedge away. And then you don't have that horrible bulkiness in the corners. And again, it's little things like that that just make your finished card or box or project a little bit more professional looking. So last one. There we go. So now you can see if I pop these 2 corners next to each other, what's going to happen is they're just going to butt up to each other. They're not going to overlap. So I'm looking for my glue. There it is. On each tab, we're going to pop a little bit of glue across, and I'm going to slide it underneath. It's up to you, whichever way you work. You might find it easier to glue it on top. I find it easier to pop it underneath and then slide it up, because what it allows you to do is to bring this up while sort of pushing this very gently towards it. And what it does, it gets right up to that crease in your card, that burnish fold. Makes it nice and straight, nice and professionally finished. By doing that, you can get just it right exactly where you need it to go. So let's pop this side on as well. And you're just going to go all round, doing exactly the same. Lift that up, pop it over, and then bring this up while you're burnishing that down there. And then once you know that you've got it exactly where you need it to be, give it a good burnish. And we'll do the same with this one. Now, I know I said that I've ripped my tab, but doesn't matter because you're not going to see it. It's going to go underneath, and then it's going to be covered up by that other piece of card that we've cut. And I think it's very important. Anytime you're creating something and you've got these tabs on there, always cover them up with an extra piece of card. Not only does it add extra strength to whatever it is you're creating, again, it's all about that finish, that professional finish that we're going for. So, last one. I'm going to pop that under there. And again, bringing that up while pushing that just very gently to make sure it's right into that corner or that score line. And there we go. So if I turn this over now, you can see it beautifully. None of my corners are overlapping each other. You've got that beautiful mitered corner, which is going to sit absolutely lovely. And then that's when we're going to bring this piece of card in. And that's going to cover up all those corners, all those edges, and all those tabs. There we go. And then pop that over there. And give that a nice burnish. We're going to bring that over and give that a good press down. Right, making sure all my sides are nice and straight, which they are. And then we're going to bring in some of our pattern paper. So I've got this in my little crafty stash. It's almost like a burgundy, and I absolutely love it. So my sides are 8¼ by 3. So this piece I have cut down to 8 inches wide by 2¾ and it's going to sit on there beautifully. And then I've cut this next piece down, again, another 1/4 inch So it's 7 3/4 of an inch by 2.5 inch. And that's going to sit on there beautifully. And both sides of this paper are gorgeous. So if you want to flick it over to get a real contrast between that backing paper and your pattern paper, then absolutely. But these two are going to go on the outside. And then on the inside, this piece is going to go. So I've just got patterned on the inside. And again, you can put plain and patterned if you want. But I've just got patterned. So we've cut this down to 8 inches wide by 2 3/4. But what I'm going to do on this one is we're going to add those cornered, cornered edges. And it just adds something a little bit different. So let's pop that on there. And glue it down. So that's going to go on the inside. Just like that. Give it a nice good burnish. And then I'm going to flip it over because these two pieces are for the outside. But what I'm going to do is I'm not going to put any cornered edges on that one, but on the patterned again, I'm going to put the cornered edges because what it does, it ties in with the outside, the inside, sorry. You've got cornered edges on the pattern paper on the outside and on the inside. And it's sort of just carrying that decorative element throughout. So let's pop that onto here. Make sure it's nice and straight. And then glue this to the outside. So you're going to need 4 of all of these for each side. Let's pop that on there. Right, I'm not going to do all 4 of my sides, just so you don't have to sit and watch all of that. I'm going to bring in this one and you can see I've got all of the outsides with that lovely, let me just move those over, that lovely burgundy paper and then the pattern. And then just the pattern on the inside. And you can see again, I've left this black. I've not patterned or plain paper, no plain or pattern, because all that black really, really adds to the effect of allowing that beautiful pattern on top to stand out. So that's why I've not put any, just on the sides. So again, let's pop that to the side because we're going to move that to the side as well. And then we're going to go on to the lid. So this is, if you remember, my base is 8 1/4. So what I've done with this is my sides are just 1 inch deep. So we've got 10 inches by 3/8. So the box base, I'll bring that back in. That is 8 1/4 or 8 2/8 of an inch. My box lid is 8 3/8 of an inch. So I'm just adding that 1/4 of an inch. And then obviously I've got my sides. So we've got 10 3/8 of an inch by 10 3/8 of an inch. And then we're going to score these sides. Well, they're scored already. I'm going to burnish them. And then we will cut those corners. So there we go. And then bringing my scissors in, let's just trim that little cheese wedge away. There we go. All 4 sides. Last one. There we go. So let me just put some of that rubbish in the bin. So there we go. You can see that I've got my lid. So what we're going to do is, again, the same lovely burgundy, deep red, textured cardstock that I've got. And we're going to cut this down. So let me bring in my paper trimmer. So remember, my box lid is 8 3/8. I want to go down 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to go down to 8 and 1/8 an inch. For both sides, 8 and 1/8 of an inch. And pop that on there and make sure that you're happy with the border that you've got going round, which I am. So again, let me bring in, where's my box lid? I can't find anything for the mess. So bringing that box lid in, you can see that I've got 2 panels here. So the way that we're going to create this is I'm going to decide on what size I want one of the panels, and I want one of them to be 3 inches. So we're just going to trim that one down to 3 inches wide. And you're going to pop it on there, and you're going to make sure that you're happy. Obviously now if I bring this piece in, it's just going to butt up to it. So all we're going to do on that piece is we're going to cut 1/4 of an inch away. And then that ties in with the border that we've got all the way round. And then the border that will happen down those sides as well. So that's it. That's how to get your 2 perfectly matching panels on here. So then all you need to do, go back in and measure this. So this one is 4 3/4, and that is 3 inches. So this is where you're going to bring in your pattern paper. And the good thing about it is by doing 2 panels on top of your card like this, it means these thin strips that you've cut away, that you've used the bulk of that paper for, you can be using on here. So I know actually it'd be beautiful to use both of those pieces, wouldn't it? So instead of trimming that away, I think I'm going to use it. So this is 3 inches by 7. In fact, let me just double check because I don't want to give you, right. So 8 and 1/8 by 3. So we know we need to get your words right, Michelle. Cut this down to 2 3/4 by 7 7/8. So there you go. And that's going to fit beautifully. And actually, I really like that border that's on that piece of paper still. So then I need to find another piece of paper. So I'm going to bring in this one. So let me just move that. I'm making such a mess. But my pop is falling off and all sorts on my desk. Right, so remember, this is, let's just check again, because I don't want to give you the wrong one. It's 8 and 1/8. So that's 8 and 1/8 of an inch high by 4 3/4 wide. So I know that I need to go to 4.5. So let's just check, absolutely. And then 7 7/8 of an inch high. So again, bring it in. Make sure you're happy with that border that's all the way around, which I am. Pop that to the side. And then we're going to glue these down. So let me just bring in my Halal glue. It is somewhere. You see, this is what you get for tidying up, isn't it? You tidy up and you cannot find anything. My daughter's been at my desk, so maybe she has been using it. So we'll carry on. We'll just carry on. We'll carry on with the one that we're using. So let's pop glue all the way around those edges. And as soon as I'm finished, I'll find that glue. In fact, it's probably under the huge mess that is right next to me at the minute. So there we go. So you get glue right up to that edge. Be careful not to spill over. And then the same. So one of you guys calls me a speed crafter. And I do try to slow down. It just doesn't always work. But my point is, when you are popping your glue, just be careful not to go right up to the edge because you don't want that spilling out. So this one, we're going to glue this flat. So again, bringing my glue in, let's glue this flat down. And then pop it on. Again, making sure that your border matches all those three sides. And then again, even though this one's not glued down, if you've got that one in place, you can see that my border is a little bit wonky. And it can always be that tiniest little bit tricky on black card to see what you're doing and where you're going. But now, if I bring that there, my border's perfect. But this is going to go on some foam pads. So I've got some of these A4 sheets of double-sided foam. And these are absolutely brilliant. It saves you having to use lots of small foam pads or lots of strips. It can be just so much easier to do it this way. So making sure that is going to fit on there. A little bit wonky, but you're not going to see it, so it doesn't really matter. Now I'm going to pop glue on both sides of my foam. It just means that it's going to stick and stay stuck forever. And there we go, because foam can and does have a tendency to dry out over time. So if you are making to obviously gift to someone, or especially if you're making to sell, then if someone's bought the most beautiful piece from you and I don't know, 6, 12 months down the line, a year down the line, that top has fallen off because your foam pad has dried out. It's just not what you want. So popping extra glue on there. And it also helps with wiggling this into place as well. Gives you that extra little bit of time to get it exactly where you want it. There we go. So very happy with that. So again, before we pop our sides together, I'll bring you this one in. And you can see this beautiful array of flowers, and ribbon and beads. It's something that I absolutely love to do. So again, I got these from Amazon. We've got these, I searched for wedding table gems, things like that. You know, when people create those beautiful wedding tables and they've got all these lovely beads and gems. That's where I got these from. But then I've got this lovely tub, again, from I think any bead website does obviously these strings of beads. I've taken mine off. These are still strung together because these look beautiful on your projects like that. Lots and lots of beads, lots of different colours. I've got some larger ones here as well. So to create that, I've got my flowers as well. Again, lots of mulberry flowers. So if I just pull a few of these out, and then I'm not going to create the whole thing, just going to sort of show you how I get there. So I will pop a few of these off and I will have a play about with where I want them before I even commit to sticking any down. So colour, depending on the colour of your project, will obviously depend on what kind of colour of flowers you use. But I'm going to sort of pop those there. I'm just looking for my ephemera. It's here, look. So bringing this in as well, you've got these beautiful decorative pieces. You've got that lovely clock. And if I show you on this one, I cut that clock in two. I've got half there, and then I put the other half there as well. So you're just going to arrange those. Again, you're going to bring in, so I've got sort of one of those there, have a little bit of a play, bring in some of this string. That's a huge bit. Let's cut it down a little bit. And you can have it sort of wrapping around. I've got some ribbon And then again, all those flowers, popping lots of single gems on there. I've used using my heat gun for this. This is my new sticks to everything heat gun. It's absolutely amazing. You've got a beautiful, really precision nozzle on these. So I always will use hot glue when I'm attaching anything like this. So when you're happy with your sort of configuration, get the main bits of flowers down and then add the rest of the bits. Add these extra flourishes on there, your extra little pearls or gems. If you've got some sticky back ones, then you can use those as well. But this is just about having a bit of a play, sort of with where you are putting everything. So that is how we did the lid. So again, I'm going to pop this to the side. And then I'm going to bring, finally, this in. Should we tidy up just a little bit so we can see my desk, so we know what I'm doing? Just a little, not too much. For those inside boxes that I haven't got round to yet, so we've created everything else. We've created our outside box. We've created our beautiful lid. We've even created all of our inside boxes. Now, the only thing left to do is create that beautiful pattern on top. And that is literally as simple as getting your piece of pattern paper, bringing in, let's just make a little bit of room. So bringing in your pattern paper, we know the lids on all of those boxes are 2 by 2. So depending on how much of a border that you want, I'm going to go down to 1 3/4. And then I'm going to do the same, 1 3/4. So that's number 1. And for the same strip, so we're going to try and keep these in order so the pattern follows. Number 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to bring this back in and we're going to cut it again to, oh, let me, 1 3/4. And then again, we're going to trim 4 of these off to 1 3/4. So popping it next to it. So we're building that pattern up. You can absolutely do random pieces of pattern on there if you want to, but I just think it looks amazing when you open that box up and you've got that full pattern, that follow on all 4 of your separate boxes. So then you're just going to cut the next 2 strips out. Always following that pattern on from the top. So bring this over. So again, you can see just how lovely it looks with that pattern follow on. 3. I'll not do the 4th strip because you can see my boxes are already created anyway. But doing that 4th one, you're just going to bring in all your boxes. You're going to glue it on top. Trying not to lose where your pattern is with these. Just move those. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pop them all together like that. Your sides are going to come off. You've got your beautiful decorated lid. And you're going to be able to then just close it up. And that is going to be your finished box. So we're done. When you open it, look, how beautiful does it look? So if you wanted this inside, like I said before, to be one size, you would just create that box 4 by 4 instead of 4 2 by 2s. But in traditional Michelle style, we've made an absolute mess, but we're done, and it's nice and simple, isn't it? So if you do have any questions, either pop them below, or go to my socials. I'm on TikTok now. So TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, all Michelle McCarthy Crafts. makes it nice and simple. I've even got the same picture across all four, so you can't get lost. So yeah, please, any questions, ask. Any comments, let me know. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, it would be fabulous if you could subscribe. Again, the same with my socials. Give me a like, give me a share. Very happy to be led by you guys. So if there's any tutorials, anything that you would like to see, then please definitely just let me know. But that's me done. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for creating a huge mess with me. And I will see you next time.